Welcome to Ridgeview Mill Revival. I'm Matthew.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee.
So over the last 37 years, we've lived in a couple different styles of houses.
First place we lived in was an old carpet place, and we lived in what would have been the storage area.
Yeah.
It was that's where our apartment was. Our second apartment was an old duplex, an older home,
Big.
and then our first place we purchased. And this is back in Ohio where we were, hometown, and we had our first home we bought was actually started out as a log cabin. We originally found out there was a log cabin in this, and then a bigger home was built over it. So that was our first project.
The next project, we were there 5 years.
That was our 5-year plan.
5-year plan. And the next one, we wanted to be in the country.
Yeah, because we had the 4 boys. They were young at that age, or young at that time, and we wanted more acreage.
So we bought an old brick house in the country.
I think that's probably when our love of brick started.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
love of brick and stone really sort of came to fruition. We realized and that was supposed to be our forever home. That was going to be where the grandkids came to see us. But I guess we had another 5-year plan and didn't realize it because we ended up 5 years later picking up and moving to Virginia.
Yeah. And when we got to Virginia, we tried to find something old.
Yeah, we thought for sure in Virginia we'd find something old, but it just wasn't happening.
Every time we found something that, it wasn't for sale, or, the family didn't want it to get out of, to leave family hands.
Yeah.
So we kind of gave up.
Yeah, we ended up settling, and it wasn't settling. We bought a new home, a brand new home,
Yeah.
and tried to make it look like it was old.
Yeah.
So
we were there
20 years.
20 years.
We had a 5-year plan, but that 5-year plan kind of failed because we never did find an old home. No matter how hard we looked, realtors just could not find us something
Yep.
that was suited us.
So as life goes on, things changed, and some of our boys started moving to North Carolina. And we're like, well, if they're going, we might as well go too.
And we were at that point too, where it was like getting, thinking about retirement and downsizing thing. And so we thought,
So
we started looking for something small, like downtown area, maybe an old fire station.
Or, over a shop,
Yeah.
where we own the whole building in town, we could live above and rent out the bottom or whatever.
That was until our son came into the
And then our son got
equation.
involved. Yeah. And so we started looking at big enough places that we could split it, so they could have their section, we could
Yeah.
have ours. And very first building we looked at was pretty good size. It was a 2-story building
Oh yeah,
along the tracks, and
yeah. That was in right down the street here.
right down the street.
Here in North Carolina, in Conover.
Yep.
Right down the street in Conover.
And we weren't ready to make the jump. And we went on vacation, thought about it, and said, well, we'll make an offer when we get back. Got back, and
It was already sold.
oh, it's already gone.
Yeah.
So we kept looking, and we drove by this place, saw a for sale sign, drove back, took some pictures of it over the
Yeah.
fence, and
Kind of
stuff like
totally
that.
forgot about it for a
Thought,
little while.
yeah, this is just way too big.
Yeah.
So we kept looking, and ended up finding a place in a little town called Lincolnton.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was a dairy.
There's a little creek.
A little creamery.
Creamery,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
creamy years ago.
And we were going to split that, and that was going to give us about 2,500 square feet,
Yeah.
and give them about 3,000.
Not much to take care of in terms of lawn.
Yeah, it was a couple, maybe 2 acres. or something.
Yeah, that was one that was on the,
Wasn't much.
yeah, that was the one that was on the old
On the bike path.
bike path, and it had a farmer's market up the street, and very quaint little town.
Yeah, and we could have walked to everything, which was kind of nice, But
We were under contract with that one for about, say, 6 months, but
yeah,
things just weren't jiving with that one. Just wasn't
No.
working out with that one, so.
and we were still going to have that central wall that separated us from them.
Yeah.
And which probably wouldn't have been a problem.
But it kind of started
But-
to feel like a duplex.
Yeah.
And that's, we wanted a little more separation because, they have 3 kids and they didn't want to feel like they were infringing on us and vice versa. So we that one dissolved.
Yep.
And we're back on the hunt again.
And David, our son, second son, just kept pushing. Let's go back and see that big one. Let's actually, get the realtor to get us in there and let's go through the building. And we resisted for a while and finally said, oh, it doesn't hurt to go.
Didn't hurt to look.
So we
Curiosity, too, because we wanted to see what the building looked like.
Yeah. So we met the real estate agent here, and it took us 2 to 3 hours to get from one end of the building to the other.
And we walked away a little disappointed and overwhelmed because it was just way too big.
But at the same time, we saw a lot of really cool things with it.
It just wasn't downsized.
Spaces were huge, but it had the history, it had the bricks,
It had character.
had the cool metal windows and all that stuff. But it was just like, wow, this is just too much.
Yeah, it came down to the one thing we were looking for, and that was to retire with something smaller and less upkeep and less of a project.
So we kept looking, but we just could not find anything. And our son said, let's go, let's give this one some consideration. Let's really think about it. I mean, people were looking at it as something that just needed to be torn down.
Yeah. And we were of the mindset that this was a building that needed to be brought back to life and just in a different way, in a different use.
Yeah.
So as we started to look at this space, we decided, okay, this is a forever project. Do we want to go into a forever project? And
Yeah.
that's what it ended up being.
But I think for us, the biggest thing was we didn't want another house. So we did want to downsize.
Yeah.
But the true thing was
We did downsize.
we really wanted something different.
This is different.
This is different.
This is different. So as you can see, we got a few things we wanted. We've got the brick place. We've got something unique. We've got something old. However,
We didn't downsize.
we didn't downsize.
Not at all. We purchased the property in 2020,
Right in the midst of COVID.
right in the midst of COVID, in the summertime. And there was a lot of things that we needed to get done when we first bought it. The grass hadn't been mowed, it was overgrown. We had to work with the power company to get power, and that took us a while.
Again, it was the middle of COVID, so, you
Yeah.
know, getting people out, having the ability to get out here that weren't
Yep.
affected, was posing a problem.
And the fence that was here, we found there was holes being cut in the fence so they could get in here.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of break-in.
We had a squatter at
Yeah.
one point that we had to get rid of. We worked to try to secure the fence. We put up some security cameras. And once we got the electric to the property, we definitely put up some lights. So it wasn't so dark like it had been.
And actually, we had what we called a Christmas tree lighting, since we hadn't had a Christmas tree in 3 years because we had actually been living in a hotel for a while. That's a story in itself. So we had a Christmas lighting, as in we lit this building for the very first time the week before Christmas.
Hold on, I'm trying to find it.
Hey, we got power.
I want to go walk.
Is Hannah recording? Yeah, they're blinking. They've been off.
The warehouse has power.
Problem with that whole lighting of the building was once we turned the lights on, we realized that they had broken in, busted some windows, and got in and stole a lot of our stuff. So,
Yeah. But we were also lucky that we could even actually get electric to the building because the building had sat for so long that a lot of the copper and stuff had been stolen out of most of the larger buildings. Luckily, this building didn't get hit as hard, so we were actually able to use the electric that was there and use the lighting that was still there. So that was kind of, that was a very big positive.
yeah, talk about exciting. You get power to the building, you flip it on, you don't know what's going to come on.
No.
And we were surprised, we were shocked, we were elated that most of the stuff worked.
Yeah.
In this part of the building.
Yeah, even
Now,
fans.
in the other parts of the building, no.
No.
It was, but this part of the building, yeah, we were really surprised, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
We
it was
sort of
actually
liked
over
it.
a couple of months that we were realizing other things that were still had electric to them.
Yeah.
That we're actually still able to use. Like I said, the old fan, an old exhaust fan was actually, we still use it. We use it in the summer to keep cool, so that's a plus. So we're just at the beginning of this long journey,
And a lot of people think we're crazy.
and maybe we are, but if you like crazy, follow our little adventure and be sure to like
And subscribe to Ridgeview Mill Revival.